Welcome to the weekly shir for the Zera Shimshon. It's Yud Beis Yud Beis Shvat and Tafshin Pei Gimel. And this week's parsha is Beshalach, and of course the pair Shira and the famous Shira Sayam. A lot of Divrei Torah talked about in this week's parsha, and I'd just like to share a short one with a little segula. There's many segulas in this week. All right, the condition of this with the sea. God made a condition at Ma'aseh Bereshis with the sea, what it should do when it came to Kriyas Yamsuf. Now it says, Vayam vayet Moshe es yadai al hayam, v'yashav hayam lifnais baiker le'esanai. The Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and toward the morning the water went back to its power. That's the direct translation of Eisano. Okay, by rearranging the letters and the vowels of the word le'esano or le'etono to its power, it can be read letano in accordance with the stipulation at creation. That's the Shmais Rabbah. This means that Hashem and the ocean had a pact in place from the time of creation that the ocean would split when it would be commanded to do so. If the pasuk is informing us about an agreement that was made with the sea at the time of creation, shouldn't it have been alluded to at the moment the sea split, and not here? After the waves came crashing down over the Egyptians and returned to their original places? And we know there's another midrash that's not a contradiction to this, but it says, what did the sea see? Yam v'yonas. The sea saw something and it ran. What did it see? So it actually refused to split until it saw the Aaron of Yosef HaTzadik, and because Yosef HaTzadik ran away from Potiphar's wife, so the sea also decided it's going to run away and split. So in the schus of Yosef HaTzadik. So anyway, the Zohar says a different Pirshat. In Parshas Vayakel, it says that Hashem made a condition with the sea on the third day of creation. The ocean would split, and allow Bnei Yisrael to pass through on dry land, and would drown the Egyptians. As it says, the water went back to its power. From the Zohar, we see that Hashem made two separate conditions with the sea. One is that the sea would turn into dry ground for the Jewish people. And the second was that it would then revert to being a sea and drowned the Egyptians. According to this explanation, the pasuk is word perfect in every way. The best place to allude to the agreement between Hashem and the sea is after the ocean, after the sea, right? Now it's not an ocean, returns to its normal state of existence. Since the fact that the waves came crashing down to drown the Egyptians meant that Hashem's conditions had been fulfilled exactly as He'd instruct. So that's from Zera Shimshon, this week's Parsha, Ois Zayin. Now there's a small, I had this pick here from which segula to choose, but I like this one. At a company in the States, a bunch of employees got together during lunchtime to celebrate a siyum made by one of the workers. At the Suda, one of the assembly rose to address the crowd and told over the Zera Shimshon's vort on the topic of Hoidu LaHashem Kitayv. Most of the people at the meal had never heard of the Zera Shimshon before and wanted to know when and where he had lived. The speaker did the best to paint a verbal picture about the author with the limited information at his disposal. The Zera Shimshon lived at the same time as the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Although he had a son, he passed away during the Zera Shimshon's lifetime. That was his only son. This prompted him to write his classic work, and especially the introduction, which captivates people immediately. I have myself personally witnessed quite a few Yeshuas in the area of Shidduchim. But why take my word for it? You can get a hold of the Sefer and learn it yourself. It was an emotional moment. One of the people sitting there had a brother who was already 28 years old. When he heard the way his friend was talking about this Sefer, a Sefer he'd never heard of before, he decided to purchase a copy and see for himself. Instead of learning the Sefer on his own, the man began studying it becharusa with his brother. 2 months later, the brother was a chassid. Mazel tov. Okay, so everybody should have shafar, bracha, v'hatzlacha, and this week's parsha. And if you didn't say Parshas Aman, say it over. It's the Eis Ratzayin, and this Shabbos is a special time for Parshas Shira. That's a special parsha of Hashbas, of all the Yeshuas and Nechamas and Shidduchim, and Kriyas Hayam is like Parnasa and Shidduchim. So everybody have a batzlich, all the inyani of Yeshuas. Call to